Okay, part 6 of Rime of the Ancient Mariner. We are on our way. Now, if you'll recall, when we left off at the end of part 5, our Ancient Mariner was kind of in a half, I don't want to say coma because he's still awake. He kind of half fainted. Why? Because the ship is now moving at super natural speed. The spirits are moving it super quickly. Why? I don't know. Maybe they just actually that doesn't make sense to me why this happens so fast. But while it's happening so fast, while the ship is moving so fast, the mariner hears the voices up in the air and part the two spirits talking back and forth. Is that the guy who did the bad thing? Yep, that's the guy. The South Pole spirit's still angry at him, and the other one says, "Well, the South Pole spirit's got done a lot to him, but still a lot more coming his way." So that's where we pick up today. The ship is still moving at supernatural speed. The mariner is still half passed out, and the voices are talking up in the air, and he hears these voices. Listen, oh, by the way, the minute they realize that he's half awake and is coming even more into consciousness, they disappear because they don't want to be seen or heard by him. I don't think they realize that he is listening to them now. Please listen. Part 6, first voice. But tell me, speak again, thy soft response renewing. What makes that ship drive on so fast? What is the ocean doing? Second voice. Still as a slave behind his lord, the ocean hath no blast. His great bright eye most silently up to the moon is cast. If he may know which way to go, for she guides him smooth or grim. See, brother, see how graciously she looketh down on him. So the one voice is like, how is that ship moving so fast? And the other voice is like, it's the moon doing it. The moon's doing it, and we don't understand why. Now, it's just interesting that that the moon we know now, hundreds of years later, I mean, this was written in 1810 or 1815, 1820. Did they know back then that the moon controlled the tides, which in turn controls how the ships move? I don't know. I just find that very interesting. I'll shut up now. The mariner hath been cast into a trance for the angelic power causing the vessel to drive northward faster than the earth could endure. Okay, so the first voice. But why drives on that ship so fast without wave or wind? Second voice. The air is cut away before and closes from behind. Fly, brother, fly, more high, or we shall be belated. For slow and show that slip will go when the mariner's trance is abated. And then the one voice says, dude, we got to roll. It's starting to slow down. He's about to wake up. Let's dip. So they disappear. The supernatural motion is retarded. The mariner awakes and his penance begins anew. So he wakes up. He might even think at this point, oh, it's all over. I'm good. But it's not. He still has more penance to do. Listen, I woke, and we were sailing on as in a gentle weather. 'Twas night, calm night, the moon was high, the dead men stood together. All stood together on the deck for a carnal dungeon fitter. All fixed on me their stony eyes that in the moon did glitter. So when he does wake up, it's night, and the moon is out. He says it's gentle weather, everything's fine. But all the dead men are still staring at him. Listen. The pang, the curse with which they died had never passed away. I could not draw my eyes from theirs, nor turn them up to pray. And he says he's the evil eye that they're giving him. It entrances him. He's now hypnotized, and he's stuck staring at these guys who are staring at him. It's just a staring contest with 200 dead guys. The curse finally expatiated and looked forward. So he says, all of a sudden, just like that, I was able to look away. So I turned around from these evil guys, and I looked back onto the water, and I saw, listen to what I saw. Like one that on a lonesome road doth walk in fear and dread, and having once turned round, walks on and turns no more his head, because he knows a frightful fiend doth close behind him tread. This is interesting. He said, I turned around, and I was looking out at the water, and I had this awful feeling behind me. And that awful feeling was these dead men staring at me. And I did not want to turn around because I was afraid if I turned around, they would be like, right up behind me. I would liken it to this. I'm 46 years old, but I still do this. If I turn off the lights in the back and bottom of my basement, I run up the stairs because I'm telling you, I can feel sometimes something down in my basement, my deep, dark basement, and it's going to like grab at my ankles as I'm running up those stairs. So I run up those stairs and I get up there fast as heck. Oh boy, same thing at night. If my closet door is open, what? I can't sleep if my closet door is open. I can sense the devils and the demons in there coming out to get me. So I get up, turn on my light, close the door, turn my lights back off. Then I go back into my bed. So I get that awful feeling of watching her. I mean, that's what he says he feels behind, not upon me. So he says, again, I felt this weird supernatural wind. I felt it. The waters didn't move, though the sails didn't move. It raised my hair. It fanned my cheek like a metal gale of spring. It mingled strangely with my fears. I welcome it. So he says, this weird wind blew all over me, and I couldn't understand where it was coming from. And then I got this weird feeling. I've felt this wind before. This reminds me of something. Swiftly, swiftly flew the ship, yet sailed softly too. Sweetly, sweetly blew the breeze on me alone it blew. And he says again, I felt this weird breeze on me, but nowhere else. It was again another supernatural breeze. It's bringing me somewhere. Where does it bring me? And the ancient mariner beholds his native country. It brought him home. He says, all of a sudden I turn around and I see my own hometown. Listen. Oh, dream of joy. Is this indeed the lighthouse top I see? Is this the hill? Is this the kirk? Is this mine own country? We drifted over the harbor bar, and I with sobs did pray. Oh, let me be awake, my God, or let me sleep away. So he notices, please don't let this be a dream, because I'm home. I recognize my hometown, right? He prays to God, please don't let this be a fake. I really want this to be over, right? The harbor bay was clear as glass, so smoothly it was strewn. And on the bay the moonlight lay, and the shadow of the moon. The rock shone bright, the kirk no less that stands above the rock. The moonlight steeped in silentness, the steady weathercock. So he says, I'm sure I'm home. I know this place. And the bay was white with silent light till rising from the same. Full many shapes the shadows were, and crimson colors came. All right, so I got to talk to you about this. Now, big ships, they can't sail these big ships right up to the land. Why not? Because the bottom of the ship would go into the dirt. It would get beached, right? And you would never be able to get it off the ship. In fact, the ground might even rip the ship open. So a giant ship can't pull right up to the land. What does it do? It stops out in the harbor, right? And it drops its anchors, and then the people on the ship jump off onto little boats, and then they go off to land, right? So you get ferried over to land on little taxi boats. Now we've got a couple things to talk about. One, in his homeland, there's a job. It's called a pilot, and that's one guy's job is to take a little teeny boat, and when a big boat comes in, he takes his boat out to the boat, and he picks guys up, and he ferries them to land. And then he goes and he gets more guys, and he ferries them back. So that's his job. That's the pilot's job. We're going to find out that the pilot also has an assistant, probably a young boy, 16, 17, 18 years old, who does most of the rowing probably, right? So he has an assistant with him. We're also going to find out that in this harbor area of his homeland, a hermit lives. Now, a hermit is a who lives alone, normally like outside, maybe in a cave or in the woods or something like that. You get the name from a hermit crab. Have you ever seen a hermit crab? That's a crab that lives in that big giant shell by themselves, and they spend all their life alone, right, inside their shell. So a hermit is somebody like that. We're going to find out in a minute, I'm just telling you now, that the hermit who lives by the bay is a very, very religious man. He's almost like a priest, right? In fact, people know him as a hermit type priest. And you can go to this man and be shrived, which means you could go for confession and he'll confess you, or maybe you can go for him and he can do prayers with them, or he can say your penance, or maybe he can do a mass for you or something like that. So everybody knows that this guy is very, very super religious. One. Two, another thing that this hermit likes to do, it's just his little side thing, is he likes to meet new sailors and whatnot, or old sailors, but he likes to chat with and talk to the guys who land in his bay. Maybe he can he hopes that after they're going to pray them. So he goes and he sees all the ships that are coming in. Okay. With all that being said, our mariner has now pulled in and he's home. So at any minute now, the pilot and the pilot's boy, and possibly the hermit, because he likes to jump in that boat and meet these guys straight away, are going to be rowing up to their boat, right? To pick them all up. There's a small problem. What is that small problem? Well, that's right. All the crewmen are dead. All 200 of them. None of them have any bullet holes or sword wounds or anything like that. They just dead. And the really interesting and evil and awful and terrible part about it is they're all still staring evil eye at the dead, at the mariner, right? So if the mariner walks 10 feet, their eye follows him. So how the heck is he going to explain to the pilot's boy, the hermit, and everybody else in the hometown? I mean, they're probably all asleep, but he's going to have to explain it tomorrow morning when everybody wakes up. Where's my husband? Where's my brother? Where's my cousin? Where's my nephew? Remember, his own nephew was one of those dead people. So his brother's going to be coming looking. Where's my son, man? Where'd he go? And then when they see him dead and staring at you, they're going to say, dude, what did you do to my son? What's going on here? They're going to blame him. So he's in a world of trouble when it comes to that. Okay, so let's go back now that I've described everything and let's figure out what's going on. And the bay was white with silent light till rising from the same, full many shapes that shadows were, and crimson colors came. So remember, he's looking out at the bay and at his homeland. He doesn't want to look behind him anymore. Why? He already told you why. He has this awful feeling. All 200 dead men are staring at him, so he does not look behind him. He's only looking ahead, and he sees the moonlight, and it's beautiful and whatnot. But then all of a sudden he says, crimson shadows came up behind me. Crimson is like a blood red color. So all of a sudden, this blood red light starts emanating behind him. Guys, if you're on anywhere and this blood red light starts emanating from behind you, what do? You turn around and you look at what the heck is making that awful, evil light. Listen. A little distance from the prow, those crimson shadows were. I turned my eyes upon the deck. Oh, Christ, what I saw there. Each corpse lay flat, lifeless and flat, and by the holy rood, a man, all light, a seraph man, on every corpse there stood. So he turns around because of this light, and he says, all the dead men are now lying down again. They're all just straight dead. But on top of each man, each dead person, is an angel standing on top of them. Listen to what these angels do. The seraph band, each waved his hand. It was a heavenly sight. And they all waved to him. Hi, how you doing? They stood on signals to the land, each one a lovely sight. This seraph band, each waved his hand, yet never a breeze up blew. The mariner, I'm sorry. Wrong page. This seraph band, each waved his hand. Pardon me. No voice did they impart. No voice, but oh, the silence sank like music on my heart. But soon I heard the dash of oars. I heard the pilot's cheer. My head was turned perforce away, and I saw a boat appear. So he sees this light. He turns around. He sees all the angels, and they're all waving at him. Then he hears the pilot's boat behind him down on the water. So he turns around again to see the pilot coming towards them. Listen. By the way, let's talk about the pilot and the pilot's boy and the hermit. They're rolling up to the ship. Everything's looking fine, right? Everything's great. Except, of course, all of a sudden, oh, by the way, they can't see up on the deck because remember, a big old ship is way up high above the water and they're in this little ship rolling up next to it. So they're going to have to look up to see it. So the only thing that they can see on the ship are like people or the mariner looking directly over the edge. Everything on top of the ship, they can't see. It's kind of like if you're against a building, you can't see on the roof of that building. You have to move way far back to see up on the roof. As the boat gets closer to as the pilot's boat gets closer to the big ship, they can't see what's on there, but they do see something. And what is it? Yes, all those crazy crimson lights. Because out of nowhere, you're driving up, this crazy red light starts emanating from the top, and it's 200 of them. So it's bright, it's scary. So they're like, what's happening up on this ship right now? I'm getting a little nervous. Let's continue. Watch. The pilot and the pilot's boy, I heard them coming fast. Dear Lord in heaven, it was a joy the dead men could not blast. He's happy that the dead man can't speak because they'd be like, oh, ship coming here. He's happy that they don't talk. But his problems are about to happen because they're about to pull up, climb up, and say, why are all these dead men up here? Listen. Also, what's the deal with all these angels? That's another thing that's going to need explaining. But let's see. So he says, dear Lord in heaven, it was a joy that dead men could not blast. I'm wondering what the dead men would say if they could. Ship ahoy, we're home. I don't know. I saw a third, I heard his voice. It is the hermit good. He singeth loud his godly hymns that he makes in the wood. He'll shrieve my soul. He'll wash away the albatross's blood. So he says, last thing, this is where we end our part 6. He says, so I saw them coming up. I'm glad the dead men couldn't scream at them, because then they may not have turned around and just left or come after me. But he notices that the hermit is in the boat with the pilot and the pilot's boy. And he says, thank goodness for that, because I can give my penance to this guy and he'll forgive me for what I did. And I can go on with my life the way I did. He believes that that's going to happen. I don't think that the South Pole Spirit's going to let him off that easy. Just saying you're sorry to a priest and being done with it. Let's see what happens. That's part 6. We will pick up part 7 tomorrow. Thank you very much.